Hello and welcome to Break Panel Sports. I'm John, joined alongside Joel. We've got some stuff to talk about today. We've got a very unfortunate event that I will get into later. We've got the NBA, some talk there. The old Knicks, Joel's Knicks, my Colts, the Lakers. Things are going down in the world of sports, and we're going to break it down. But first off, Joel, how we doing?
I'm probably doing better than you right now, man.
Yeah,
I'm probably doing better than you.
in a way we are. Things are happening. Things are going down. But recent events have been crazy. But we've got a lot to break down, Joel. And Joel, I have something that I have to say. I really have to say this, and I have to talk about this. But I'm going to do my spiel now. We are gathered here today in honor and remembrance of 2023-2024 Indianapolis Colts. Gardner Minshew
Mm-mm.
could not get the job done for my Indianapolis Colts. They
Minshew
tried.
Mania is over.
It's over for now. I'm assuming he's going to come back. It doesn't matter. The Indianapolis Colts fell to the Houston Texans 23-19 last night. It was a win and you're in scenario, and the Colts did not win, so they are not in. Fourth down. For some reason, Shane Steichen wanted to call a timeout when he had all three timeouts on 4th and 1, trying to draw them off sides, which had worked a couple times before. But you waste a timeout and basically sign your death note to lose the game. And then, okay, 4th down and 1. Jonathan Taylor has almost 200 yards on the day. Let's throw a quick pass to Tyler Goodson. Joel,
Makes sense.
before last night, did you know who Tyler Goodson is?
I knew he had like 6 catches on the year. That's about it.
He had a good game against Pittsburgh when both Moss and
That's pretty
Taylor
much
were
it.
out. Tyler Goodson is a good player. Okay, he's a solid 4th-string running back. But it was interesting that in that scenario you draw up the play for your 4th string, and it hit his hands, but it was a bad ball. And I just kept thinking, oh my goodness, I forget what I was saying, but this is just the Lions Cowboys game where you try to make an excuse for what happened the play before or the couple plays before. They're like, well, the quarterback threw a bad ball. Yeah, it was chaos. It was a tough play to throw that ball to. It was a quick one. I mean, yes, most quarterbacks make that pass, but there was no reason they should have called a timeout trying to draw the team off sides. There was no reason they should have did that. You have to save your timeouts in that scenario. There was a minute left. They were on the 20, 4th and 1, and they run everybody out there trying to draw an offsides. But if you don't get the 4th down, the ball is back to the Texans. You need 3 stops.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts ended up getting 3 stops, but they only had 2 timeouts because they tried to draw them off sides and they had to call a timeout. If they had 3 timeouts, they would have got the ball back with about 45 seconds left rather than 1 second left. Or trying to do the punt return, whatever they did, because the Texans ended up taking a safety anyway. So they would have got a regular punt. So it didn't make any sense at all. But the Colts, season's over. But Joel, your thoughts on the Texans-Colts game before we break down all Indy?
It's sad. It's sad because I want to say earlier this year, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about Shane Steichen as a potential Coach of the Year candidate.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh my God, like they could make the playoffs with a backup quarterback. This is a good team, all this stuff. And yeah, you see that performance by Jonathan Taylor yesterday. It looked really good.
yeah.
Now here's my thing. And I'm not defending the Colts here in this. I almost mixed Colts with coach. Him too, Shane Steichen. Yeah. I'm not blaming him, but I do want to say Jonathan Taylor, he did go to the Blue Medical tent.
He did.
Early in the game. All I'm saying is maybe, just maybe, there is something about his health that we weren't aware of. That maybe that was the reason why he didn't want to play him.
Well, he just ran the ball 3 times to play before.
And I know that. I'm assuming
this was after he went to the tent.
This is maybe there was something about him that he just didn't like. He didn't want to risk and took him out. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt with that I can look past the benching of Jonathan Taylor. A lot of people are making that a big deal. I can look past that. I'm sorry. You got to catch that ball. I'm sorry. Yes, you got to catch that ball. I'm sorry. Listen, everyone wants to say, Gardner Minshew, he threw a bad ball. Minshew sold. He did it, blah, blah, blah. He's a backup quarterback, and he threw a ball to his hands. You're a professional NFL player. You got to catch that ball. You have to catch that ball. I will say that again. If the ball is in your hands, you got to catch that ball. We saw it literally hit his fingers. Yes, okay, he threw it behind his back. The ball was in your hands.
Yeah.
You gotta catch that. I'm sorry, but I'm not blaming Minshew here. I see a lot of people blaming him, and Minshew's even blaming himself that he could throw a better ball. Yes, it's true. I've said it already like 10 times. You have to catch the ball. There's no other thing to say about it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, the story, yeah, you would have liked to see the Texans in this. I think a lot of people would have liked to see the Texans in the playoffs,
I agree.
especially with Stroud, Nico Collins kind of blowing up there. D'Amico Ryans is now a candidate for coach of the year. They're building something in Houston. And I like this Texans team. However, when you look at Indianapolis, same could be said for them. And unfortunately, it costed them the season. And I mean, I know you were asking me about my thoughts, but since you are the Indianapolis Colts fan, and I know earlier before the show you said that you weren't like totally mad because you said that you weren't even supposed to be there. I just
Right.
wanted to know like your thoughts on this whole debacle of a situation last night.
Yeah. So I mean, just to kind of, so the game is the game, right? I can talk about the whole
Right.
season, and I will. But the game is the game. They converted 1/3 down the entire night. They did not play well on offense for most of it. The passing game wasn't there. It was all Jonathan Taylor. And you're not going to, that's not winning football what they played. So if they played that game in the playoffs, they're not winning any game. They're not winning any game. They didn't really get going until the second half. Yes, there were good second half adjustments. They put up 6 points in the first half. They didn't play well enough to be even in this position. There was not a lot of great stuff coming out of Indianapolis offensively, again, besides Jonathan Taylor, right? and I'm not going to criticize Shane Steichen too much. I think his clock management,
He's
his
a good
timeout,
coach.
he's a great coach. I mean, again, like I'm saying, this team was not supposed to be here after the injury to Anthony Richardson, after plenty of other injuries. This team was missing Julian Blackmon, their best safety. First play of the game,
Mm-hmm.
Nico Collins goes 75 yards down the field for a touchdown. Julian Blackmon probably makes a better play on
It
in
was
that
already off to a
situation.
rough start.
It's an awful start. And the thing was, you have to give credit to Houston, obviously, because 20 for 26, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns for CJ Stroud. If there's any more CJ Stroud deniers, and I was one of them before the draft,
So was I.
yeah, I think a lot of people were, even when he got drafted as high as he did. If you are a CJ Stroud denier at this point, no, please stop. If you are a Nico
He's the
Collins
real deal.
denier, if you are a Nico Collins denier, please stop. 9 catches, 195 yards. I mean, that guy was beating everybody. There was one play, Stroud is just running back for his life, throws a ball running off his back foot. Nico finds a way to go out and get it. It was laziness on defense for the secondary, but the fact that that throw was even made, that miracle play, quote unquote, even though it was just a great play by Stroud, that play not being made would have probably ended up the Colts potentially winning that game. They would have got a stop. He would have got off the field, and they wouldn't have scored. The Texans would have scored a touchdown that ended up being the game-winning touchdown. So it was not a good performance by the Colts. And even if they did find a way to win this game, you realistically probably not going to win a lot of games in the playoffs with Gardner Minshew.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this team has a top 5 defensive line in the league, and all they're fifth in sacks heading into this game. They ended up getting a good amount of pressure on CJ Stroud in the second half. Only 2 sacks though, so it's a good team. And when you look at it, how many teams before the season or early in the season, Anthony Richardson goes down very early in the year. Your star rookie, your number 1 player. By the way, you didn't have Jonathan Taylor for the first half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Your defensive line needed some development, but they ended up really coming together. And there was talent, and I think it was only team in the league with however many guys at 6 sacks, 5 guys at 6 sacks, and you had so many injuries in your secondary. You were missing your rookie corner for most of the year. This team went through probably as much adversity as anybody, and because they're not Cleveland, we're not going to talk about them as much. Now they're out of the playoffs, we're definitely not going to talk about them. For a team to be here, to be in a win-and-you're-in scenario after losing your quarterback, after everything you had to go through with a first-year head coach, I can't look at this game and just throw out the whole season and be disappointed and be mad. I can be mad you lost a game, but I'm not going to sit here and say seasons, I got nothing out of this season. Because now I'm watching that offense and I'm saying, wow, if Anthony Richardson was there, that would have went well. That would have went better. That would have went better.
You have
Anthony
a good
Richardson
future.
exactly. Anthony Richardson with Jonathan Taylor, good luck. I don't know how you're going to stop it. And Gardner had a great year, all things considered, for what he is and who he is. But the Colts did what they could. They did all they could. They just didn't come down and win the game at the end of the year. And when you're in the situation you are, yeah, it's probably going to happen. They also lost a right tackle during the game. So healthy Colts probably end up winning this game. Texans, they're healthy. They're getting hot at the right time. They win this game they're in. And I can see CJ Stroud. I kind of want to mention the Texans because I could see CJ Stroud winning a playoff game.
No, I can too.
Yeah.
100% I can.
If they play Kansas City, this D'Amico Ryan's defense, and with the way Kansas City is, tell me they can't beat Kansas City.
Well, also keep in mind if Jacksonville loses,
Win the division.
Texas win the division, and then they would get like the 4th seed, I believe.
You host a playoff game. You play Cleveland, I believe. Cleveland would be the 5 seed, so you'd play Cleveland. Honestly, I'd rather not win the division. I would rather play Kansas City than Cleveland.
Yeah.
I would rather play Miami than Cleveland.
You want to play the cold team right now.
You want to play those cold teams in the playoffs, man. Now, I know signing up to play Kansas City is probably not a good idea in Arrowhead, but the Cleveland Browns team, I'd rather host a playoff game, to be honest with you. But they've got a squad. That Texas team. It's going to be tough for a while for the entire AFC South to put up with this, to me.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, looking at the Houston side of things, this is a hot team. This team is really good. And CJ Stroud, keep in mind, he was a little banged up these past week or two.
Yeah.
Look at him now. I didn't see anything wrong with him. He looked great. Everyone looked great. Everyone looked fine. And no one mentions this Will Anderson Jr. as much as they should.
Yeah.
I see this guy I feel like he's involved in almost every single defensive play out there. Like he makes an impact on almost every single play.
And he had a bad ankle, so he wasn't out there as much, especially in the first half. He was dealing with an ankle sprain, so he wasn't on the field as much as you'd really think. But when he was on the field, oh my goodness.
The impact was insane.
That team was different, man.
Everyone around him plays better when he's in the game. Yeah. When I was watching some of the plays that Indianapolis was making, and Will Anderson Jr. was not on the field, is like, oh my god, if he was on this score would be so freaking different. It would be insanely different. And I mean, now they have an extra day or something like that to prepare for the playoffs. But once it comes to getting this team healthy, I think if it's a situation where they face Kansas City, yeah, we could be looking at a really big upset here. Yeah. I think we will. And they would be what, the 7th seed or something like that, taking on the
Depends
2?
how the rest of the situation.
Yeah, we gotta wait.
Out. We gotta wait and see. This is being recorded. So by the way, this is probably a Monday when this gets up. So this is currently Sunday morning. We sometimes we do a show before the NFL games. We record it. And we do a little morning. So this is the morning after. I have now slept on this situation, and this is the day after. So we could be talking about this, and the Bills are out of the playoffs, or they're the 2 seed, whatever happens. So yeah, but Texans are in. That's not going to change. The Jaguars, they've got something to look out for. They got to go win that game. They got to go win that game against Tennessee, and they win the division. But the Texans, they're in. They would probably. It could be. The Texans could be anywhere from the 7 to the 4. They can't be the 5. Cleveland has the 5, but who knows what's going to happen with Buffalo? Who knows what's going to happen with Miami, Pittsburgh?
A lot can change today.
A lot can change. Anything can change, and it's a shame that we can't record. We can't record this on that day, but we have to get this up.
We do,
and we've got some basketball to talk about as well. But for the Colts, there's a lot to look forward to for both of these teams. Somewhat, the entire AFC South, really. Will Levis down in Tennessee. However, I think their roster construction is not looking well right now, but they do have a quarterback, so that's fun. And who knows how well he keeps going. Who knows if he's able to go out and win against Jacksonville today. You've got Anthony Richardson in the AFC South, a young defensive line for the Colts. Secondary's young, getting better, and they've got a good O-line as always. Texans, young defense, young quarterback in CJ Stroud, who's looking like one of the best in the NFL already as a rookie. Easy rookie of the year. And then Jacksonville is already Jacksonville. They've got Trevor Lawrence. I don't care how bad your team is. If you got Trevor Lawrence, you're going to be okay. So this is shaping up to be one of the best divisions in football at the right time. Everybody is so young in the AFC South, Joel.
And it's funny because like just like a year ago, this team was considered this division was considered like one of the worst.
8 wins would get you a win in the division a few years ago, yeah. When the Texans had nobody, when the Jaguars barely had, I think Trevor Lawrence's rookie year, the Titans were still rocking out with Ryan Tannehill. And Colts had Phillip Rivers. for a year.
The
Carson Wentz
future is
for a
bright
year.
in that AFC South.
It's looking good. It's looking really good. Now, Joel, there's a couple futures that are looking okay. One is not so good, but this one looks okay in the NBA. We're going to transition sports here as we transcend sports. The NFL, we'll have a lot to talk about in the NFL once today's games are complete. Once we have a full picture of the playoff, that's going to be fun. It's going to be a really good NFL playoff. But the NBA, you've got the New York Knicks on a 4-game winning streak, sitting at fourth in the Eastern Conference, and
All
that whole
right.
that whole East, every team from I believe from 4 to 8, he's separated by half a game right now. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams at 20 wins from 5 to 8, and then the Knicks have 21 wins. Congratulations to you. That's because they've played an extra game compared to those other teams. So we'll see where the rest of the NBA shakes up once we get a few more days in the system. But the Knicks, I know one game that really stuck out to you was they blew out Philadelphia on Friday, January 5th, 128-92. That was a big game. They beat the Timberwolves. They took down the Bulls like everybody does. And they had a game against the Wizards that we were watching before the Colts game. And man, was that some bad basketball. That was not a fun game to watch. I had to turn it off because that was just not good. So just to revisit the Sixers game first, OG Anunoby had a decent day with 11 points. He's fitting into this lineup really well. Jalen Brunson has been on a tear. You've got good performances from Quentin Grimes, Dante DiVincenzo, Miles McBride at 15 points in 15 minutes. Where did that come from? They went out and just handled their business against that team. Julius Randle bounced back from a tough performance, 39 points for Julius Randle against the Washington Wizards. Jalen Brunson with 33, but again, who doesn't play well against the Washington Wizards? I think Joel, maybe I can get a couple shots up against Jordan Poole. Who knows? But yeah, the Knicks playing well, playing really, really well right now. And the OG Anunoby trade, I know I wasn't a huge fan of it when it originally happened and everything went down with RJ Barrett and Emmanuel
Don't
Quickly.
look too bad now.
It does not look bad at all. Now, is it going to be enough for the Knicks to get past Philly, get past Milwaukee, get past Boston? That was my issue. But they go make another move at the deadline or in the offseason, things could change very quickly, Joel. But this team looks good right now. Let's just enjoy the moment. Enjoy
Oh,
the
I would
moment
enjoy
right
the
now,
moment. 100%.
especially if you're a
4
Knicks fan.
0.
You've seen some bad basketball over the past few
Oh,
years.
what? I remember watching when like Frank Ntilikina and Alonzo Trier were the starting
Oh,
guards.
Alonzo Trier. Remember Langston Galloway?
Oh my
How about
God.
the Cleanthony early era?
I remember when Wayne Ellington was our best shooter,
Dog.
and I
Best
thought
shooter.
that man was gonna be around the Knicks for like the next 5 years. I was like, oh my God, this guy's so good at shooting the three. This is the best 3-point shooter I've seen. It's like Novocaine or something.
Can Wade Ellington get a max contract? How about that?
It was,
But this team's fun.
but in all seriousness though, looking at this trade now, especially looking at these recent performances by the Knicks, forget playoffs. I think they're potentially going not even second. I think they're going to the conference finals.
They can, yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? I looked at this team last year, and people keep disregarding this, and I'm not gonna allow them to disregard this. The team that made the finals last year, the Miami Heat, the Knicks took them to 6 games.
Yes.
They took them to 6 games. They were 2 games out from potentially making it to the conference finals against Boston, a team that they were 3-1 against last year. Now this year they're 0-3, but that's prior to this trade, so we don't know what's gonna happen there. But I'm looking at this trade now. Win-win. It's a very win-win trade. Listen, quickly, he's blowing up in Toronto right now. He's averaging like 20 points a game in those 4 games, in the 3 games that they played. Okay, let him. It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Right, you weren't going to keep
We were not. We were the same team with him averaging 15 on the bench. We were the same team with RJ shooting 5 for 12 and getting like 16 points or something mid like that. Like, we were the same team. It was never going to change. Nothing about this team was going to change. So why not get someone who can excel at a specific position at defense, at a specific skill? And OG Anunoby, I don't know how true this is. I really don't. Maybe this is just my, Knicks brain taking over here.
Okay.
But I heard a rumor, you could tell me if this is true or not, that OG Anunoby was actually willing to take a pay cut in order to get to New York. I was
I have not
hearing
heard
this.
this.
I
I
was
have
hearing
not
this for
heard
like the
this
past
rumor.
week. I was hearing this for like the past week as far as like, free agency goes because he's has a player option and all this. He was actually willing to take a pay cut to come here.
There is a
If
rumor. There is
that's
a
true,
rumor.
if that is true, I ain't worried about him resigning at all. I ain't
No.
worried about it. I'm perfectly fine with him being here. I got no issues with it. Now, I do agree this team does need to make another move. I do agree that they need to make another move. I struggle with finding out a way to make a move only because I would look at a guy like Zach LaVine, but it seems like he doesn't really want to come. His camp is saying that he doesn't really want to come here,
Yeah.
right? A guy like Pascal Siakam, I don't see how he really fits. I'm only mentioning him just because he's involved in a lot of trade discussions, right? You know, guys like DeJounte Murray, I've heard his name a couple of times. I don't know necessarily if he would fit well with this team. Defensively, I guess, but like offensively, I just don't see it. There's a lot of guys out there that I think could help this team, but it's a matter of what are you willing to give up,
They've got the
because
picks.
but even to get OG Anunoby, who everyone would say is a really good role player, you had to give up your former third overall pick.
Yeah.
You had to give up a candidate for sixth man of the year. Like you had to give up good pieces, to get one dude. Achua and Flynn are kind of irrelevant in these trades. They really are. Like if you're watching them, Achua especially has been a non-factor, so it's not even worth mentioning at this point. But when you're talking about a future trade, you want to discuss Josh Hart? I don't want to. You want to discuss Dante DiVincenzo? I don't want to. One of our best defenders, and Josh Hart, one of our best offensive rebounders. There's a lot of guys on his team that are currently on like coming off the bench that fit. They're great scheme fits. There are guys that we have that are like, man, if we did not have them, we would not be winning this game. And trading for superstars has not worked out for teams like Brooklyn. It's kind of working out, not so much. It's up and down with like teams like the Clippers. It doesn't work out with a lot of teams to trade all of your assets to get one guy. I don't see it happening. I don't see that working. But with New York, I agree. They if they're going to make a championship run, you got to make some sort of big move in the next month. It's got to
And
happen.
when you kind of look, when you look at what's out there at the trade deadline, right? Zach LaVine and Donovan Mitchell are probably the best players out there. But like you're kind of saying, the Knicks don't really like they're in a position to do it, but would it really make them better in terms of how the team fits, in terms of everything? I think they make a move for kind of someone who's in the middle, right? Someone who isn't really a superstar per se. If you're going to make a trade deadline move, by the way, offseason is the offseason. They can do whatever they want. Someone who's not really a superstar, but someone who kind of borderline star, right? They could trade for a Gordon Hayward, find a way to get somebody like that.
I've
They
heard
could go.
about that.
I've heard that one. I've heard. I mean, I like Tyus Jones a lot. I like getting Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma would like. That's the kind of. If you're gonna make a deadline move, that's the tier of player I'm thinking that they're gonna go get. Like they're not gonna go trade for Joel Embiid. That's not happening. They're not
Yeah,
gonna go trade for any kind
I
of
don't buy
star.
it.
None of the. There's no team really selling a superstar right now. There isn't any of those DeMarcus Cousin type deals out there that we've seen in years past where you got to go get this guy. Some teams got to go get this guy. It's not really that year. And DeJounte Murray, I don't think really fits his team as well as you probably think. So, I mean, I like DeJounte Murray a lot, but I think it would kind of take away from Brunson, what he's been doing. You have to kind of let it go. So I think that's the kind of tier of player that they're going to go get. I don't think that they're going to go get a superstar.
Yeah, neither do I. I mean, I would like them to, but it's like you said, what are you willing to give up? Because let's just say, within the next few weeks, right? Donovan Mitchell gets traded to New York. Everything hits the fan. It's like, oh my God, he's going to New York. And then you see what they
Right.
give up. They give up, 4 first-round picks. They give up Josh Hart. They give up Dante DiVincenzo. They give up Quentin. Like, whoa, hold on a second. Who's on the bench now? What are we doing here? I don't
Does this make
understand.
you better?
What?
Yeah.
Like, I would be freaking out because I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, a trade like that, our starting lineup looks great.
Yeah,
Who's coming off the bench? Deuce McBride, and that's it. I don't know, like
that's about
who
it.
else is there? Like
That's about
you
it.
traded everybody else. So that's why I look at this team, and I agree with what you're saying as far as like they need to trade for like someone who's like a star. I don't know if that guy's necessarily Kuzma or Gordon Hayward, but like, yeah, I don't look at this team right now and say, oh yeah, I'm content with this.
Yeah,
If they end up trading for someone else that it doesn't gut your bench totally crazy, I'm looking at this team. I'm saying I don't see how they don't make the conference finals. I don't see how they don't.
yeah, because
Be-
yeah, I think they can beat if they get, let's say they get Kyle Kuzma, right? I'm not saying they have to get that guy. I'm just kind of throwing a name out there, like that kind of player. I think they could beat. They can beat those top three teams in a good series because they have a great home court. I'm not saying they would, but they could beat Miami. They would be the fourth best team in the East, and we've seen the eighth seed in the East make the finals. Like they beat the Magic, Pacers, Cavs, Nets, Bulls, Hawks. Right? The Knicks are better than all of them. They give a competitive series to Philly and Milwaukee. I don't even like Milwaukee that much, and we've seen Boston fall. So if you put a good team together year in and year out, like the Knicks are trying to do, you give yourself a chance. You give yourself a chance, and the Knicks have a really good chance right now. Even if they don't do anything, they still have a really good chance.
They think they're contenders.
Yeah,
They think they're contenders. I've seen this report all the time. You know, them saying even at 20-15, they look at this team right now and they say, "Listen, we can compete,
yeah,
and we're not trying to just like be mid anymore." Like we've seen this same team more or less for the past like 4 years, 3 years. Nothing's changing. I feel like what they saw last year with Miami, that's our ceiling. Second round exit.
yeah.
Second round. That is our ceiling right now. So why be content with the team that you have? You know
You can't be.
why?
You never can be.
Right. You
You
just can't. Those are the differences between teams that win championships and the teams that are just always in the middle and just have to watch from afar.
yeah.
It it's not gonna work. And I think Leon Rose, even though I've been giving him crap for like years because I'm frustrated with this man a lot of the time,
Yeah.
I do agree with his mindset of something needs to change. And if it doesn't, we're just going to be in the same position we've been in for the past like 50 years. It's just the same thing over and over again.
They'll be done. And you look at a team like Milwaukee. You look at a team like Boston. You look at a team even Philly. They're always good. They're always a top three team in the conference.
Well, they're not afraid to make a move.
They are right. Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Damian Lillard. They're always in those conversations to go out and make moves, to go out and get something done. Those are the teams that win, like you said. Those are the teams that are always at the top. Milwaukee won a championship, not with this team yet, but they know how to win. Boston, yes, they haven't won a championship in a while. With this core, they haven't won any, but they are always in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been in the NBA Finals. They've been within 2 games of the Warriors, right? They were almost there. So yeah, the Knicks are trying to get to that point, and what a lot of teams will do when they're close to developing their squad. That's why I was saying back when we were talking about the Magic, and you were saying, they're talking about James Harden, trade for a superstar,
Orlando Magic.
Orlando Magic. Yeah, it's such a good song. Those teams, like Cleveland trading for Donovan Mitchell, right? That was a team that was on the come up. They were so young, they had all these pieces. Sometimes teams panic and make a quick move for a superstar or a guy who appears to be a superstar. And it completely ruins your franchise and completely ruins the trajectory that you were on.
Sounds
And the
like James
Knicks,
Harden.
it is James Harden. He's ruined this for 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. He's set teams back decades. And that's what you do, right? It's like, oh, we're good. We have some young pieces. Let's go get a James Harden. Let's go get a Donovan Mitchell. Let's go get somebody, right? And it sets you back because you have to give up picks. You have to give up your bench. You have to give up depth. You have to give up shooting. But the thing is, Joel, you look at a team like Cleveland. How do they get to where they're at right now? By drafting well, by getting good young players.
Mhm.
Why would I sacrifice that to go get Donovan Mitchell? Unless if I can get a superstar, like if I can get LeBron, if I can get Giannis, yeah, I'm giving up everything. But Donovan Mitchell hasn't shown anybody that he can go carry a team to a championship. He's shown that he can win you a playoff series or two. But he's
He
not
also
a.
showed that he could lose in the first round.
He can show you that. He's shown you that. He's shown me that more times than not. So that's where I'm saying with the Knicks, and I've kind of changed my tune on this a little bit. You don't need that superstar, an extra superstar. You have Brunson. You have what you have. You have OG. I'm not a big Julius Randle fan, but he has played well. And we'll see how it translates into the postseason, Joel. But I'll let you take the floor for the final point on these New York Knicks.
I mean, like I said, looking at them now, I do think they could make a run. I do think that their ceiling is conference finals. If you add a superstar type of player to this team without managing to gut your bench, I know that's like very hard to say, but you have the picks to do it.
Yeah.
You have the first round picks that you're not going to be using. Go out there and go get your guy, whoever that may be. Go get them. We could be potentially talking about a championship here. I'm not even joking when I say that.
I know. I know you're not joking. It's tough. If you get in the conference finals, you have a chance to get there. And if you're in there, you're in the NBA finals, you got to win 4 games. Anybody can win 4 games, right? But one team that may not even be in there, the Lakers. And the Lakeshow, as we just mentioned, they are not doing well. Things are not well in Lakerland, and I feel like a lot of people aren't really talking about it. Yeah, the crap show, whatever you want to call it. Things I can't say on the internet. The Lakers, 17-19. Yes, there's a lot of season left to go. I understand that. And same thing with the Warriors, 17-18. These Lakers are sitting at the bottom, near the bottom, obviously, because you're not going to be as bad as the Spurs or the Trailblazers or even the Grizzlies right now. But these Lakers just lost to Memphis, who are now kind of in a position where they're kind of climbing back, fighting for a playoff spot with Ja. And for a Lakers team with LeBron, Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, some talent on this team doesn't lack starting talent. Their depth just isn't really there. They're not running a very deep rotation. But these Los Angeles Lakers, Joel, do they even look good?
No,
Do they have?
they
this is a team that was in the
look
Western
bad.
Conference. This is a team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year, and not a crazy difference of roster. I think people even argue they got better this year in terms of the talent that was on that team.
Yeah.
And now look at them.
I mean, I think there were some off-season moves that I thought were a little questionable. Not at the time, but I feel like now, especially like the Gabe Vincent signing.
Right.
Not looking too great right now, is it?
Not at all.
I mean, I understand he's been hurt, but even when he was playing, he didn't look all that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's really played a lot this year.
Austin Reeves, think he's a good player. Think he's fine, but would you be expecting some sort of leap? I feel like he's averaging the same amount. He looks exactly the same as he did last year.
That's the problem. Well, he did just have 19, 12, and 7 in their loss. But I think so many people expected Austin Reeves to make this jump. Right. I don't mean to cut you off.
I don't see. No, go ahead. That's fine.
I think a lot of people were expecting Austin Reeves, and I love Austin Reeves. I watch OU basketball, right? He was a great guy. But was he really somebody when you watched him play? I think people had like star expectations for Austin Reeves.
No.
People did, and he got a decent contract for it, but he's a really good role player.
He's a good role player.
And I love his game. But 15 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists, that's what he is. There's no second level for Austin Reeves to get to. This is just Austin Reeves to me.
That's who he is.
This is just it's not a bad thing either. It's not a bad thing for a guy like him, undrafted out of OU. Could have been drafted. There's a whole story behind that. But a guy drafted out of OU, undrafted, diamond in the rough. If you find a diamond in the rough undrafted player that's averaging 15 points a game, almost 5 assists and almost 5 rebounds a game, shooting 48% from the field, I'm not complaining about that. He was worth the money. But I think the Lakers and a lot of Lakers fans are banking on him being enough to bring this team to that next level. And that was not what they needed to do.
See, okay. You know how you mentioned a few weeks ago that you were having issues with New York fans about the high expectations? I can say the exact same thing about Los Angeles fans. Okay, here's my problem with LA as a freaking whole. Okay, I saw the other day, Coach Ham of the Los Angeles Lakers is just saying, I hate how I don't have the exact quote on me, but like we're living and dying with every single game, you know? And I'm looking at the comments and I'm seeing people say like, you're the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. What did you expect? What are you talking about? Like, is it what it is? I'm like, that's the problem because he is absolutely right. He is absolutely right. And nobody wants to say that. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, why are we overreacting over like 1 or 2 games? Okay, like I understand. Yes, I understand that they're on a bad run, but that's all I think it is. I think it's a bad run.
Yeah.
I don't look at this team and think that they're worse than the Pistons. I don't look at this team and say like,
No.
oh my God, you gotta trade everybody. Like relax. Okay, relax. You won your little in-season tournament that you won a banner for and you raised it because you thought it was such a big deal. Okay, relax. Like, oh my God, don't tell me that you don't have success. LeBron even got you a ring like a few years ago. I don't want to hear that you guys been struggling forever. Okay, the Knicks haven't won since like Stephen A. Smith was like 5. Okay, relax.
He was
I don't
young.
understand. I don't understand where all this hate is coming from out of nowhere. And I look at LA. I hate their fans. Oh my God, I cannot stress that enough. I just hate them because they are what everyone thinks Knicks fans are. And I just don't understand it.
Now,
We have every right to be that way.
Knicks fans have your moments all the time. I'm sure you do.
But
But
we have every I look at
yeah.
I don't go ahead. No, it's
Okay.
fine. I've
Well,
been rambling.
I was gonna say, I think it's also a lot of the LeBron fans contributing to a lot of it because of LeBron, because of what he brings and who he
But
is. And obviously, it's
the
in LA, but I think a lot of it's also the LeBron fans expecting the Cleveland days to return at 39 years old.
and listen, you know me personally, John. I love LeBron James.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
you know me personally. But like the LeBron fans that in a non-joking way, the LeBron fans for, the Los Angeles Lakers fans, the expectations for them have become so high that they're just deluded to the idea that every year is their year.
yeah.
And I just I cannot decide whether or not I hate Lakers fans more or Cowboys fans more because they are the same people to me. I
Same
just
people.
don't like them. Like there's every single year that we got to talk about them, I'm just like, why? Why are we discussing them? Even last year when they made it to the damn conference final, I was so mad that we had to discuss them further. It was because it made no sense to me. All this, oh my God, a championship run is gonna happen
Right.
again, and then because you think Austin Reeves is gonna take you over that hump, because you think Gabe Vincent is gonna take you over that hump, because you guys thought that Jared Vanderbilt is one of the best defensive players of all time. Calm down. These guys are good role players. They're nothing else. LeBron is 39 years old. What are we talking about here?
Nothing.
Makes
Shouldn't be
no
talking about anything.
sense.
I think I remember that series. They were asking the Nuggets about the greatness of the Lakers or something. They asked the Nuggets some
They got
weird
swept.
question. Right. They asked the Nuggets player Malone some weird question. It's like, no, the Lakers have a chance now, or something like that. I'm like, it was like they're focused on their team. Can you talk about the Nuggets? Or he went on a rant too about how the Nuggets are doing all this stuff. Right. This is what I'm thinking of. The Nuggets were up in the series and it was over.
Uh-huh.
And the narrative wasn't, oh, the Nuggets look really good. It was, how can the Lakers come back? How can LeBron come back in this series? How can this become a series again?
I saw
It's the same thing I see in New York. It's the same thing I see in Boston. It's the same, and it's even worse in LA to me.
I kid you not. Last year, I experienced one of the worst things that I have ever seen on ESPN, and I've seen a lot of terrible things on ESPN. It was, and I love this guy, Brian Windhorst. I don't know if you remember this or not. Brian Windhorst, after the Lakers got swept by the Nuggets, he said, I'm paraphrasing here, he said that was the best team that I've ever seen get swept
Yes.
ever. Like, I'm like, what? What did you just say? We're
Right.
not talking about
And
how the Nuggets are going to the finals. We're not talking about how Jokic looks like the best player in the NBA.
yeah,
You're talking about Oh, that was the greatest swept I've ever seen.
The greatest team
What?
that ever got swept. And when the ratings are down because it's Nuggets Heat and it's not the Lakers, and then you get up there and you say, why are the ratings down? Why don't people care about these teams? You don't talk about them. Nobody's talking about the Thunder. Nobody's talking about the Timberwolves. We're talking about
No one,
we're doing it too
no one
because that's what
talks.
people want to hear. Why are the Lakers bad? How can the Lakers come back? How can the Lakers do this? Right? Because that's what we think to talk about. That's just how it is. We could talk
It's
about
it.
the Timberwolves being good. I could talk about that all day.
They're number one in the West right now. I think they're still number one in the West, aren't they?
Number one in the West. But because they're
No
the
one's
Timberwolves,
talking about them.
nobody's really thinking about it. 25-9. Thunder are 23-11. The
It's
NBA,
ridiculous. It's
they're
ridiculous.
thinking, oh my goodness, the top teams in this conference, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Denver, you got LA, Sacramento, New Orleans is a 7 seed, Phoenix is the 8 seed. You got
The small market teams.
Dallas in there, small market teams. That's what happens when your sport has a salary cap, MLB. That's a whole other topic, though. I did I go there? Did I go
You
there?
went there.
Did
You
I
went
go there?
there. Hmm.
I mean, you see what happened in
I
the
agree with you
NFL.
too.
I mean, baseball needs a salary cap. Baseball's needed a salary cap for a long time, Joel. But now because we have a 10-year contract with Shohei Ohtani, I don't know why I'm going on this rant, but now you can't make a salary cap because we're signing 10-year deals, 11-year deals, 12-year deals. Get your money.
And what was
I love how it's
and
given
here's
back.
the thing too. What was it by? A Los Angeles team.
Los Angeles. And who are the other teams in contention? New York
Small
teams.
market.
Toronto. Okay. It just doesn't make any sense. But to close on the Lakers, you have LeBron, you have Anthony Davis. They're gonna find a way to sneak into the play-in, and they'll
Yeah.
probably win and probably get into a playoff series and probably play the Timberwolves. And if they're the 8 seed playing the Timberwolves, Joel, what's gonna be the story?
How can the Lakers win this series?
How can the Lakers win this series? Not oh man, Minnesota looks good. No, how can or no, you won't even it won't even be that. It'll be should the Lakers be favored to win this series?
Should the Lakers be favorite? Yeah.
Are the Timberwolves the worst number 1 seed of all time? Are the Thunder the worst 1 seed of all time?
Are the Timberwolves frauds? Yeah.
And here's the thing: are we probably going to end up looking at it, and the Timberwolves aren't going to be in the NBA Finals? Probably not, because they're young. But I mean, there's Denver. Dallas has a chance. You know who is not going to be? Lakers aren't going to the finals. The Lakers
That's a
aren't
team I
going to
can
the
guarantee you
finals.
right now.
They run into Denver. They run OKC. They run to Sacramento. They're not going to the finals. They're not going to the finals unless if they somehow make a crazy turnaround and look way better. Lakers aren't going there.
Now let me ask you this: do you think a lot of this falls on the players or Darvin Ham?
On what's going, I think it falls on everybody. I mean, I'll pull up that Darvin Ham quote. I had it. Said this is a marathon. You have to look at the totality of the picture. I'm tired of people living and dying with every single game we play. Like it's ludicrous. Actually, it's like, come on, man. This is a marathon, and we hit a tough stretch. It's the same team that played
I
some
don't
high-level games a little while ago. We just got to get back to that. We got to keep the fight through. We cannot lose our fight.
even when he got hired, okay, I thought the hiring was kind of questionable for him to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah,
I personally like Frank Vogel more. That was just me. I liked him better. But when he initially got hired, I did not think that he really understood what he was getting himself involved in, being the head coach of the Lakers. And you're seeing that now. And this is just kind of what comes with it.
right.
And I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I think Darvin Ham, I think is a good coach for the wrong team.
Exactly. As much as I hate the New York and LA big market, high criticism, hyper evaluation, hyper analyzing all the time, what I don't like even more is when a player or a coach will sit up there and say, why are we getting criticized all the time? Can you guys stop? That's not how this works, right? We can complain about it. We can sit here and say, why is, oh, I don't like it. Yeah, you don't like it. But I understand the quote. I understand what he was trying to say. And the thing is, I've heard a million coaches say, we need to fight. We need to fight. Yeah, you always need to fight. It's the NBA. It's professional sports. Every team's got to fight. But you know why? You know what you should have known what you got into. One, you're coaching LeBron. LeBron
Mhm.
could be in Orlando and we're still and they'd be covered like a major market team. Right. We saw what happened in Cleveland. How that team got hyped up. Now the reason that we even think about the Cleveland Cavaliers all the time, that we talk about them and how they can maybe be good, is because LeBron was there however long
LeBron
ago.
James.
That's why that franchise is still talked about to this day. Right? We'd be sitting here talking about, they're 2015. We wouldn't even think to mention them. But we think, how can Cleveland get back? Because of LeBron. Right? That's just his effect. And it just got super scaled in Los Angeles. But for Darvin Ham to kind of seem like he's not sure what's happening, not sure why he's in this situation, not sure why media, fans, and everybody's living and dying with them winning a game, because they're the most watched team in the NBA. That's why. If you want to leave and go to Charlotte where nobody cares whether you win or lose, sure, go for it. And maybe you'll be better down there, and I think that's fine. I don't think that makes him a bad coach. I think he's a fine coach. But, yeah, you know what you got into. This is Los Angeles. I don't like it. I hate it. I think it's stupid. I think it's something we need to stop doing as sports fans and sports media. But those reporters got to pay the bills. And they get asked to ask some very annoying questions. And this is the effect you see. And when you lose, those questions get harder. So that's what they're dealing with right now.
It's like, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you that it's ridiculous. I look at Darvin Ham and I believe that if he was a coach of anywhere else, he would be okay. He'd be in a fine position. But at some point, you got to look at this and blame the players. Like, if there's guys out there that just, and I saw Austin Reeves, I saw a quote that he said, basically we have the guys, to potentially do something, whatever, on all this stuff. I don't agree with him at all. I don't think you do. I don't agree with that. I think that's just him defending his players because he doesn't want to, look bad or anything like that. But
yeah, he's not going to say our players suck.
Yeah, I know he's not. I know that he's not, but I also believe at some point you got to be more realistic. Even LeBron last night or 2 nights ago or whatever it was, he straight up said, "We suck."
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? We suck.
Yeah, LeBron can say that. Austin's not going to say that. So,
yeah,
just to pull up what happened in that game, and I think it's very telling of where this team is. LeBron James, this is the Memphis game. This is also the game that Darvin Ham said the quote that we just went over. LeBron had 32 points, seven assists, and 5 rebounds. A pretty standard LeBron night. 39 minutes for the 39-year-old, though. That's, he was supposed to go on a minutes restriction. Where did that go? What happened to that? I don't know.
What happened?
Anthony Davis played 41 minutes of basketball that night. 31 points, 4 assists, and 6 rebounds. Good game. Austin Reeves had 19 points, 12 assists, and 7 rebounds. A near triple-double for the kid from Oklahoma. 40 minutes of basketball. And then you look at Cam Reddish, 8 points in 32 minutes. Max Christie.
He's so mid.
Jared Vanderbilt's a good defender, but doesn't bring a ton offensively. He had 0 points. Christian Wood, 11 points and 5 rebounds. He's playing his role down low. Torian Prince had 10 points. Oh, that's everybody.
Isn't Jackson Hayes still on this team?
He did not play against the Memphis Grizzlies. So the problem also is that this team has no depth. They have no depth. Jackson Hayes played 1 minute against Miami.
Come on. That? Oh my God.
And when you look at this team, it's just they have no depth. The way the Lakers built this team was the way that they would build it around a 29-year-old LeBron, 32-year-old LeBron, 34-year-old LeBron. LeBron is not carrying teams to 1 seeds anymore. That's not who he is. He's great, but you still need to build a basketball team if you want to win. And the Lakers were just not in a position to do that. I don't think LeBron should have stayed around Los Angeles. I don't think this is also. I also don't think this is tarnishing his legacy, but he should have been out of there.
I think he is just waiting for Bronny to enter the NBA.
Yeah,
so fast, just so he can go to wherever team he goes to and just end his career right there.
Yeah, he's not worried about. LeBron's not. I don't think LeBron. He wants to win a championship. You always want to win a championship. The Grizzlies are trying to win a championship right now, right? But that's not his end-all, be-all at this point in his career at 39. He knows that he's not going to play that level of basketball the way that he used to, even though he's still playing so well for what he is, for a 39-year-old, for everything. And we're I will always acknowledge the greatness of LeBron James and what he's done throughout his whole career. But we're talking about the here and the now when it comes to him. This team is just not built to win a championship.
It's
And
not.
LeBron is not good enough like he was in Cleveland to carry teams to championships anymore. And that's okay. That's okay. He doesn't need to be that anymore. You don't have to prove that to us anymore. But if I'm the Lakers, why am I expecting him to be that? Why am I building a team like he's going to do that? Why did I do that? I don't get it. I think, if anything, when you talk about if the Lakers are very much out of the play-in,
Why is
I'd
LeBron
have
still
to
here?
say, why? I know you would never do it. You would never even consider it. But what if you traded LeBron and Anthony Davis? Why? What if you blew up this team? What would happen? If that can that become a realistic possibility?
I think it can happen. I'm not
Now,
even gonna lie to you.
I would
I
imagine LeBron has a no trade clause in his contract. I would imagine, but let's say that they're really out of the postseason.
Why is he still here?
Why would
Why does
LeBron?
LeBron want to still be there?
The only reason is because of one, his family is there and everything and all that, and moving to a whole new city would be rough and whatever. I mean, he could just go. I mean, they have enough money. He could just go to a different city for a little bit, play some basketball, and come back. But and obviously the marketing that LeBron is able to get because of the fact that he plays for the Lakers, the movie stuff he can do, the financial reasons that he can be a Laker. But when it comes to basketball, if LeBron wants to go win another championship, because it doesn't matter what he does, he can play until he's 45. There will still be a very large crowd of people that will never call him the greatest player to ever play the game of basketball, unless if he goes out and wins 6. So if he wants to do, if he cares about that, I know it's outlandish, but it might have to happen.
It might have to.
It won't, and we're being delusional, and you fell for it. Haha, sorry.
Uh,
But Joel, anything else left to add about that?
I'm all good on my side, to be honest with you. I feel like I've expressed all of my due diligence as far as the Lakers go.
All right. Well, maybe LeBron will be traded tomorrow. Who knows? Probably one of the wildest things I've said on here, to be honest with you.
Maybe.
Hey man, it's what we do.
That's
It's
what
how
we
we
do.
rock. It's how we rock. If you saw the clip of me saying that, just know I don't actually think it's going to happen.
Maybe you do.
Maybe I do. Maybe I will. Maybe Joel thinks Justin Fields will be a Viking tomorrow.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you saw that. We were just having some fun with it, Joel. But to set the record straight, he's not going to Minnesota.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe he is. You will never know what we actually think on this show. That'll do it for Break Panel Sports. I've been John, joined alongside Joel. It's been fun. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, evening, morning, night, whatever. Whenever you're listening to this one, it's always great. It's always a pleasure. We will see you another time.
Later.